What's going on, y'all? Taylor here with y'all 106.7. Today we are joined by Texas Cowboy Hall of Fame member and country music hitmaker, Mr. Clay Walker. Welcome to y'all.
Oh, thank you, Taylor. And I'm glad to be on y'all 106.7.
We're honored to have you here, buddy. I mean, we play a ton of Clay Walker. But speaking of Cowboys, let's talk about this new music. Cowboys in Heaven. I almost cried when I heard it the first time. It was beautiful. Tell me about the inspiration to that song, because I know it's very personal for you.
It is personal. One of my best friends ever, Charlie Rizzo, was almost 83 years old when he passed away. And I wrote this song and actually got it recorded, and I wanted him to hear it. He died the same day that I finished it, and he was just such a wonderful human being. He's a PRCA cowboy, won a bunch of buckles, bunch of saddles, and he was also a firefighter for Houston, city of Houston. But he was my fishing buddy. Now we fished together all the time, and he was really the only guy I really went fishing with, and just a special person. And then I lost my brother-in-law about a month ago in a tragic accident, and he was 39 years old. And so I've dedicated the song, to Mikey Craig and to Charlie Rizzo. So the video will be coming out sometime in the next couple of weeks, and people will be able to see that at the end of the video that both those guys are honored with the song. But Cowboys in Heaven is, Cowboys are a little rowdy. Just like the song says, but I know we'll be there. If David was a man after God's own heart, I think he's got to have enough room for guys like me and some of these other Cowboys.
Don't doubt for a second. Cowboys in Heaven. I love that. And you're on fire with new music. I know She Hung the Moon, another great one. Interesting, it was co-written by Toby Keith and Scotty Emmerich.
Well, Toby's such a great writer and great singer, and Scotty same. I'll be cutting new music with Keith Stegall as well. We haven't made that announcement yet, but Keith Stegall, who produces all of Alan Jackson's records, and Keith has done a couple records on me, and it'd be great to get back in and make the kind of music that's made me who I am.
We're excited to hear it. You're on fire, and you're going to be playing this new music on tour, the Drive Me Smooth tour.
Drive Me Smooth,
hitting the road.
Yeah, it's been a great 2024.
Yeah,
and we've done a handful of dates so far this year, and they've been phenomenal. So it's great to see that uptick. I think people really are gravitating towards 90s country and just stuff that they grew up with and sounds authentic to them.
So when fans come to the show, can they hear this new music mixed with your hits that everybody loves from the 90s and early 2000s as well?
Yeah, we try to play all the hits and then some of the new stuff as well. Cowboys in Heaven will be front and center of this tour for sure.
Well, we cannot wait. You touched on the 90s. I told you we play a ton of Clay Walker on our station. I mean, like we said, every other song we'll say is Clay Walker. What do you think is so iconic about it? Like, it's just that sound, the storytelling, the instrumentation. Why is America just so fixated on that 90s country? Because we've gotten such a great response.
If I don't think it's that complicated, meaning that, the 80s, we had such great artists, and they're always standing on the shoulders of giants. You had great music in the 60s and 70s, George Jones. Then in the 80s, you had icons like Randy Travis, Keith Whitley, George Strait. So guys like me in the 90s, we were able to stand on the shoulders of those giants, and the studios made leaps and bounds on the sounds. So we were able to take these wonderful country sounds that we've been working on for decades, and then the 90s was just magical. It was the entire blossom of that rose, if you will. And so, and I don't think it's ever gotten any better than that. There's been new artists, and there's a lot of great artists still in country music, but the sound wise, no one's ever competed or beat that 90s sound.
Oh, magical is the best way to describe it. That's the perfect word for it, like you said. I mean, you've had 11 number one hits, 40 singles on the charts. I gotta know. It's like picking a favorite child, but what is one that holds the most weight to you? I love What's It to You, and then even some of your other cuts, This Woman and This Man, Hypnotize the Moon, If I Could Make a Living. What's Clay Walker's go-to favorite?
You know, it's whatever song the crowd is singing the loudest. You know?
They probably sing them all back to you, I'm sure.
Sometimes it's If I Can Make a Living. Sometimes it's She Won't Be Lonely Long, This Woman, This Man. But it changes from night to night. But the one song that probably hits me the most when I'm singing it is Live Until I Die, because it's a song that I wrote when I was 17 years old, and it just it's my life in a song, you know. But so from that standpoint, it's the most special. But from a singing standpoint, you know, I think This Woman and This Man and Fall, you know, both of those songs really stretch my vocal range, and so I love that challenge every night, and sometimes I nail it, and then sometimes, you know, I'm struggling a little bit. I love the challenge.
Man, 17 years old. You're a prodigy, huh?
13 years ago. Crazy.
Wow. So did you grow up writing songs?
I did grow up writing songs. You know, I never thought I'd make it as a singer. I didn't have a lot of confidence. But I've worked on my singing, you know, for the last decade. I've really worked on it, and, you know, taking vocal lessons and just trying to strengthen my voice, not change the tone so much, just strengthen it. And I feel so good about where I am as a singer right now, because, you know, the crowd gets to be the beneficiary of that work. You know, they come to the shows and they can hear it, you know, loud and clear and strong, and it's very gratifying to be able to get up there and perform at that level, and just feel like it's. I'm in that stage of my life where I really feel like it's getting better and better. I don't know how long that lasts, and then how long I can sustain it, but that's the goal.
That's amazing. Let's talk about movies for a minute. You're an executive producer, Mr. Randy Travis, huh? Tell me about that.
Well, this has been a long time coming. I guess about 6 or 7 years ago, I met a movie director on a plane. We were flying to Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, and I really enjoyed his company. We talked, and he was making this film called The Blind, you know, about Phil Robertson from Duck Dynasty. And I said, have you ever thought about maybe doing a biopic on somebody like Randy Travis? He's like, man, he goes, that's interesting. He goes, I don't know. Let me give it some thought. And so a few years ago, I hooked up Randy Travis and Mary Travis, Randy's wife, and with this guy named Andrew Hyatt. And man, it was really a blessing, you know. So we started working towards it, and there were a lot of hurdles to overcome, you know, and things like this never come together quickly. It just takes time. And so Randy and I have the same publicity agent, Zach Farnham, and he was really the conduit between the two of us getting this facilitated with the record labels and all the stuff, the red tape. My manager, TK Kimbrell, but it all came together. And so I'm going to be playing. There's 3 different versions of Randy or 3 different time periods of Randy Travis in the film. It's when he was a kid, then first of his career, and then the middle and towards the latter part of his career would be me playing that middle to the latter part. And so I'm stoked about it, pumped about it, and it's really a dream come true.
That sounds awesome. We cannot wait to see it, and we'll be ready for a Clay Walker movie one day as well.
That'd be great.
So you're such a busy man. You're always working, but, you know, how do you relax? I see you're quite the farmer out there in Texas.
Well, we do a lot of ranching, a lot of farming, and we have a working cattle ranch in Mineola and Lindale, Texas, and got a lot of river frontage, and I've always loved cattle. I grew up in it. My dad was a cowman, and remember my dad picking me up from school one time, and we were in his truck driving through our cow pasture, and Amarillo by Morning by George Strait came on the radio. I was probably 11 or 12, and I told my dad, I said, this is my favorite song, and he taught me how to play the song and sing it. And then when my first song came out on the radio, George Strait took me on the road with him for a couple of years, and that was surreal. Mm-hmm. But to grow up, you know, ranching and growing food, and it's still one of my favorite things to do.
I saw you were bottle feeding a baby goat. You got goats, horses, you got it all,
we got a
huh?
little bit of everything. You know, we my daughter Mary Elizabeth had to bottle feed a calf the last 2.5 years, 3 years, and she was supposed to die. You know, the vet said the calf wouldn't make it, and we were going to put her down, and after she was born, and my daughter wouldn't allow it, and she nursed that calf back to health, and now she's a full-grown cow. So, you know, I think Harvey, what's his name, the famous radio guy, Paul Harvey, yeah. Paul Harvey had done something about a farmer. He says, "So God made a farmer," and if you ever watch that, it'll raise the hair on your neck. And it's never about the money. It's always about the love of creation and the animals. And yeah, I still get into that, but it's a great life. You know, I have 5 kids, and they're all little kids, and they've grown up in it. I have 2 older daughters who grew up in it as well, and they I wouldn't trade it for nothing.
That's special. I saw one of your daughters made her Opry debut.
Yeah, my 15-year-old, she turned 15 on December 27th, and I was playing the Opry that night, and she came out on stage and she sang "Walking After Midnight" by Patsy Cline. And she got her first paycheck, $237 from the Grand Ole Opry, and I said, there aren't many people, and I didn't know she was going to get that. It came in the mail. We were all ecstatic, screaming and clapping in the house, and it was like, who can say their first paycheck came from the Opry?
The Opry,
That's
yeah.
pretty good.
She's like, Dad, this is awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So you're going out on the road, and when can we expect some more of this new music? Because we're loving it.
So the road is my favorite part about music.
Mm-hmm.
I love writing, I love recording, but watching the music come alive in people's lives right in front of you. It's there's a word called ineffable, which means there are no words that can explain it. So for me, having that experience every single night, you can't put it in words, because really you're connecting like with people's souls, their spirits. It's like you're connecting way down deep, and with their memories, and man, it's so special.
You said it best. It is very special. A question I always like to ask here at y'all, because I know we don't have a lot of time here, is what advice would you give your younger self? Maybe when you were first coming to Nashville to make a record, what would you tell young Clay?
Chill out. I've always been laid back in concerts and stuff, but in business stuff, I've always been, more uptight, and now I'm just like, man, I wish I could have chilled out this much early on.
Mm-hmm. Chill out. Well, you can chill out now, out on the farm when you're not on the road.
I get my chill time operating heavy equipment, skid steers, trackhoe, tractors. It's crazy how much I love doing that stuff. Chainsaws.
Spoken like a true country boy. Well, thank you so much for hanging out with us today, Clay. It has been a huge honor. Get tickets to Clay Walker at claywalker.com and keep up with him on socials. You might see him, bottle feeding a baby goat at Clay Walker.
Taylor, you are awesome. Beautiful inside and out. Thank you.
Thank you. And so are you. Y'all 106.7. This is Clay Walker.